Today I'm going to make something a little different, a little comforting for my friend. Her and her family are kind of under the weather today, and not bad enough where I need to make them a chicken soup, although that's really good when you're not feeling good. I'm going to make one of their favorite dishes, and that's lasagna. Only I'm going to change it and make it not in my oven, but in my crock pot. And those of you that have crock pots, this is a real simple and easy and delicious making this lasagna. So we're going to start today with, I have a good pound of ground beef, and I have a quart, which is 4 cups of sauce, a tomato sauce. And today I'm choosing, I like to make my own sauce, so this is a little maybe thicker than what you'd get in a store. Doesn't really matter, but I always make sauce and freeze it like in quart sizes so that you can just pull a quart of sauce out of your freezer for this dish. And we're going to start first of all by simply browning about a pound of ground beef. And it doesn't, yes, I do use some olive oil to everything. You may not really need it. If your skillet's nice and hot, you can just throw it in. But I get the real lean ground beef, and I'm going to just stick it in there. We're going to take an onion. And I always like even though I made my own sauce, I always like to add a little extra something in my sauce. Something fresh to make it taste more flavorful. I don't believe you can, well, I might be wrong, but I don't think I can over flavor my food. So we're just gonna take the peels off of the onion, and I chose a red onion today. Red seems to be a little sweeter, a little different flavor than your white. You can use Vidalia sweet onions if you choose to, Spanish onions. I like the red, the purple. They call it red, but to me it's really purple. And I like to use this one because I just think it's pretty. And I think it adds a really nice onioning flavor. It's not real hot either to me, to my liking. So we're just going to chop up an average size onion. And if you don't want to, if you know that onion is a problem to anybody, you can omit this. You don't have to put the onion in there if you don't like to. Now I'm going to just go, I hear my hamburger, my ground beef, my 90% lean ground beef. You can hear it starting to brown, and the little bit of olive oil I put in my pan. And what I want to do for this crock-pot lasagna is break up this meat as much as possible. I suppose a lot of you out there have made like a meat sauce. To be honest with you, I always made sauce with meatballs. I didn't grow up learning to make meat sauce, but that's a really nice, easy way when you're in a hurry to make for a dinner. So actually what we're doing here is we're replicating making a meat sauce. So you're just going to take your meat, ground it up, brown it up as it's already been grounded. And then we're going to throw our onions in there as well. I'm going to just chop up a little bit more. And you can let them all brown together if you'd like. There's no magical way or time to put your onion in your pan. There we go. Okay, I had a pastry cutter. I don't know where it is. So we're going to pick up our board and we're going to walk over our onions and add that to our pan, cooking. And at this point you can keep it up on a relatively high. I have it almost on high because we're just kind of fast stir frying the meat, taking the redness totally out of the meat. And oh, by the way, we're going to add a little bit of garlic. It's always nice to add, even though that's already been in my sauce. Again, it's nothing, it's not going to hurt to add a little bit more flavor at the very end here. There we go. we'll just, and these don't have to be really small pieces either, just kind of a rough chop. There. There. Smells so good. And that freshness of the garlic and the onion stays in that sauce as it's going to cook. If you want to, and sometimes, don't tell, I won't let my cousin hear me say this, but she doesn't like to hear that I buy sauce already made. With our background, we made sauce every single week, and she still does. But I will confess, sometimes when I have made this in the past, when I was in a rush and my kids were young, I would go out and just buy a quart of sauce. But then I would doctor it up by adding my extra onion, a little garlic. You can even, I have even added basil or parsley, whatever herbs that you like for your sauce, you can do at this time. And it really makes a delightful crock-pot lasagna. There. So I'm just kind of smashing with the tip of my spoon here, my meat. There's not a lot of grease in here, which is nice. There, so I'm so delighted to make this because it's so easy when you don't have to pre-cook your pasta. So what I have done is try to put my cooking skills together in a crock pot so you could spend more time with your family. What I've done is I've divided my lasagna noodles into 3. And with our eye, we're going to divide our meat sauce into 4. So you just kind of eyeball it, okay? The cheese mixture, we're going to divide into 3 layers. And again, I just eyeball it. And we're going to use some of our extra Parmesan cheese into the crock pot. So now we're going to start layering, and you're going to take about a quarter of your sauce mix. Again, you're just eyeballing the bottom. What I'm going to do is, because I'm short, I need to have this a little bit more towards me. There we go. There, I don't know if you can see it at the top here. So we've got a quarter of our sauce in there. And now we're going to take the lasagna noodles and we're going to just, it's an oval crock pot, so we're just going to kind of layer. And yes, you're going to have to break, it's okay, to fit it in those areas on the sides. Hear that snap? Look at that. And just cover all the holes. Wherever you could see sauce, just snap, crackle, pop. There's your bottom layer, okay? Now I chose not to put the Parmesan cheese, or the grated cheese on that, because now I'm going to do it from here on. We've got the sauce, the noodles. Now we're going to eyeball this into 3. Okay. And we're just going to spoon the cheese mixture, a third of our cheese mixture, on top of the pasta. And meanwhile, remember, we had turned our crock pot on. It's on high just to get started. And then we're going to lower it to low. There. And again, it's not that critical that it's, like you're wrapping a present here. You just do the best that you can. Everything doesn't have to be perfectly covered, just the best that you can. All right? So we've got the cheese mixture. Okay. Now we're going to start again with the sauce. So we're going to use about a third more of this. We're going to cover the top of the cheese. Whoops. With our sauce, our meat sauce, because remember we added a whole pound of ground beef. Oh yes, there we go. Okay. And now we're going to put a little bit of our pecorino romano. We're going to just kind of, I don't know if you can see that or not, we're just going to dust our top layer with that. Okay, and now we're going to start all over again. We'll take another pile here. And again, if you don't use all the 1 pound of, I'm not sure if this is even a pound, how many ounces? It's 12 ounces of noodles. So if you don't use it, that's okay. And again, you want to layer it as much as possible in your crock pot. Let's see. Just snap and fit. Now, some of you might like a lot of pasta. You could, I just choose not to. You could use all of it. This is really cooperating pasta, let me tell you. What pasta do you know cuts evenly? Lasagna pasta down the center. This one does. So now we've got the pasta in there. What goes next? You remember? Yep, our cheese. Layer it again. Okay. And again, just a third, so we're dividing whatever we had left now in half because we already used a third earlier. So, yeah, that's about right. Just kind of flatten it all around the top of the pasta noodle, the lasagna noodle. And I just want you to know that if you've got people in your house that have allergies, a gluten allergy, or just can't do wheat, I got news for you. I used to make this with rice lasagna pasta, and it came delicious. I would have people over that didn't even have allergy problems, and they couldn't tell the difference when I told them, you're eating rice pasta. And they're like, you're kidding me. I go, no. So friends, be creative. Think outside of the box. If you have somebody with allergies, just take the same recipe and have fun turning it around to suit your family needs. And you really want to use it all because we're not adding any extra water or anything. It's just 4 cups of sauce with our 1 pound of ground beef and some onion. And then we're going to put, what are we going to put on top of it? That's correct. Some more of our natural sodium with pecorino romano cheese. And there you go. Now we put our lid on it and we just set it to rest. It's nice and hot. Our lasagna, crock-pot lasagna, has finished. It only took, on high I did it, 2 hours. And here is the finished product. Look at how golden delicious it is. And what I did is I took out a piece and plated it for you with a couple pieces of garlic bread that I'm going to bring to my friends. I'm going to take out the rest here, put it in. These are really nice foil containers, so you can just bring them to a friend. You don't have to let them bother returning your crock pot or your container. And then you can also put the bread in it as well. Look at that nice big piece of meat. Let's see, this is the best part, of course, of cooking, is tasting your food. That is delicious. Look at those noodles. Do you remember we didn't even pre-boil them? We stuck them in there raw. Perfect. With some nice garlic bread, wonderful way to just make you feel so comfortable. So I know my friends will enjoy it. I hope you can try it and enjoy it with your friends and family.